Why on earth would a family of 11 want to live in a 250 square foot RV full time?
I have no idea.
Talk about something we get asked all the time.
You know, why do you do what you do? We did a video recently and got some comments on that video that just asked the question, well, why do you RV? Why don't you get a house? Why do you put yourselves through living in such a small RV?
Why do you suffer so?
Why do you put your kids through all that misery?
And a lot of the questions weren't phrased quite as nicely as we're phrasing them, to put it politely.
Yes. We came to the conclusion that it's possible that not everybody knows our life and our story and why we do what we do. So we wanted to unravel that mystery
and
enlighten everyone and give you the full scoop on why we as a family of 11 travel full-time in an RV around the country. Now I know there's a lot of families out there, a lot of people nowadays, they voluntarily leave their lives behind, their houses and their jobs and everything, so they can full-time RV, so they can live in an RV full-time.
For fun.
For fun. It's a bucket list thing.
Or educational opportunity.
Right, but and they, what they dream about, just being able to travel around the country and see the sights and go to national parks and go hiking and lay on the beach and all that kind of stuff and just do that for a living.
And that's great, but
that wasn't us. That's not what we were planning on doing. We had other plans. We had other goals that we were going to do. So it was not our desire to take all of our children and put them in our RV. In fact, that was probably the last thing on my mind. Now, we also have to say, though, that we were RVers at the time. We had an RV. We had a 27-foot travel trailer. And we were used to the lifestyle periodically.
We were part-timers.
Part-timers. We used to travel across the country at least once a year with our RV. And so we were very well acquainted with the RV lifestyle in that regard. But knowing those things, it was like, there's no way I'm going to want to take our whole family and live in that thing full-time. So we have to kind of go back.
Go back in time.
Go back in time.
Can you make that fuzzy kind of cloud?
Maybe I can. Okay, going back in time. I used to be a real estate appraiser, and we actually used to have a fairly normal life.
Fairly normal. We always homeschooled our kids, and he has always worked at home.
But otherwise, we did have a house that was anchored to the ground. We had a very nice house, 3,000 square foot home on an acre out in the Nevada desert.
In a valley surrounded by mountains.
And we had no intention of giving that up.
For this.
For this, yes. As I said, I was a real estate appraiser, and for 13 years out in the Las Vegas area, that's what I did for a living. And things were going great during the early 2000s. We rode the boom up. Then 2007, 2008 came upon us, and the crash happened, and my business crashed with it.
While many other people in the real estate market and in many other businesses failed within that first year, we rode it out for about 5 years. Right. We lived off of our emergency fund, our investments, all that stuff. We kept it going. We eked it out as long as possible. Tried to get a second income, a second business going, that sort of thing. So,
as Christy said, we had kind of set ourselves up to be able to weather those storms, and so we thought that the downturn would eventually end, and that we would be able to come through it and then just start rebuilding in a few years. But unfortunately, one year after another happened, and the economy just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And by the end of 2011, the savings were gone. The investments were gone.
The income was gone.
The income was gone. We just weren't able to make it work anymore. And so we had to find something else to do. 6 years prior to 2011, I produced my first CD. It was kind of a dream of mine, and I started performing part-time in churches. When things were going really well in my appraisal business, I was able to afford to buy all my music equipment. And so by the time 2011 came along and we had to find something else to do, I don't know, it just seemed kind of obvious that the music ministry, going full-time in it, was the obvious thing to do.
Everything was in place.
Everything was in place. The van was paid for.
The trailer.
The trailer was paid for. We had already been homeschooling our kids. I had all the equipment. I produced 2 Nashville CDs.
You had the talent.
Maybe. Okay, I had some talent. I think I'm much better now.
You are.
But everything was in place. And it was almost like a no-brainer. I remember when we sat our family down and we said, okay, I would like to do this music ministry.
But he said, I'm not going to do it alone. He said, either we're all in or I won't do it at all, and we'll find something else.
Because living in Las Vegas, meant that I would have to travel quite a ways away in order to be able to visit churches all over the country. And I would have to be out, if I went by myself, I would have to be gone for weeks on end in order to make this work. So I said, yeah, it's either going to be all of us or none of us.
And he said, who's in? And everybody raised their hands except for Eliana. Because she was only about 2 weeks old at the time.
She could barely raise her head.
She had other things on her mind.
I think she's raised her hand since.
Yeah, she's all in now.
She's all in now.
Yeah, she's.
And so at that point, we decided to jump in with both feet into this music ministry that we do.
Okay, so we had, and this is why we wouldn't have done this on purpose. We had $500. I'm rounding up. And we had an old dog, a child with Crohn's disease, and a 2.5-month-old baby, and 6 other children. 6?
It was a tough decision, and 5. I know most people would probably say, you're crazy, why would you even do that? But at the time, there were no jobs to be had. There were just no other opportunities. But I also felt this calling that the Lord was leading me to
use your talents,
to use my talents. And I think she had been kind of nudging me for several years to kind of start using them more and more. And so anyway, we went ahead not knowing how this was going to work, not knowing if we were going to be able to survive in a trailer without killing each other.
I didn't have that question.
Well, I did. Believe me, when she used to mention, hey, why don't we do this music mission full time, is that I do not want to live in a travel trailer with that many people. I had no idea how this was going to work.
Honestly, I didn't.
We decided to go on a 2-week trial tour, went through Southern California and then up to Northern California. And within that 2 weeks, it was evident that was going to be a viable way that we could support our family and that God would provide for us.
In fact, you wrote a song about that.
I did write a song. If you're interested, it's called He Provides. It's the name of my 3rd CD that came out that I produced. CD. And it was a testimony to the fact that God does provide. And that's why I wrote that song. So after that 2-week tour, we came back to our house in Pahrump, Nevada, and we decided, okay, let's go out on an even bigger tour. So I started getting on the phone and I started emailing pastors, and I booked a tour that took us from Nevada into Arizona and New Mexico and all the way up into the Midwest, and then back again over about a 6 or 7 month period. We were just blown away at the support and the encouragement that we got. And at that point, we just said, okay, this is what we're going to do. Even though it's not convenient, even though it's sometimes not very comfortable.
And as many of you have commented, it doesn't make sense to you.
Doesn't make sense, but it does make sense to us. And there's a bigger reason why we do it than just our physical comforts and material blessings. And so after that, we did come back to our house for one last time.
We packed that baby up.
Put everything in storage, and by the way, it's still there. And I think it was January of 2013, right?
Yes.
That we left our house in Pahrump for the last time.
The house that you designed.
The house that I designed and built and thought that we would live in for many, many more years. But God had other plans. And so, and we haven't looked back. We've been going ever since. It is now, what is it? It's March 13th, 2019. And we've visited all of the lower 48 states. We've shared our music ministry with thousands upon thousands of people throughout the country, hundreds and hundreds of different congregations throughout the country, and produced 2 more CDs. My daughter, Marissa, now sings with me full time. And to be honest, I don't see us doing anything else now. A lot of people ask the question, when are you going to, stop this and,
get a real
job and get a real house? And well, people ask that question, and I kind of, wonder, well, I don't see myself doing anything else anymore. I don't regret actually not being a real estate appraiser anymore. That was a very stressful job, and I just do not desire to go back there at all anymore.
People will tell me, they'll come up to me and say, I would force my husband. Well, first of all, there are a lot of people that come up to me and say, you're living my dream. So there's that side of it. So understand people that think this is nuts, that there are other people that want to do what we're doing. But other people will come up to me and say, I would force my husband to get a real job. And I'm telling you, why would I tell him to stop using the gifts God has given him to do something else?
Of course, beyond that, the extra blessing that we all get is the fact that we do get to travel around the country. We've been to just about every national park. We've been to all of the lower 48 states. We're going to Alaska this summer, so we'll check off number 49. We've been on some amazing hikes all throughout the West and in Utah, and we've met some wonderful people along the way. We've been able to experience many different cultures throughout the country.
But there is a downside. One time a lady came up to us and said, what about this and what about that? And we had an answer for everything, and finally she got really mad and she said, what about prom? You got us there. Our kids are all going to miss prom.
Yes.
And I asked them, I said, what about prom? You're going to miss prom. And they're like, really? We care.
I think one of the things that has helped us to be able to survive as a family, and the fact that our teenagers haven't rebelled against us, is that we've always homeschooled. We've always kind of been together. One of the benefits of having lots of children, lots of siblings, is that they become their own best friends. You should see our kids together. They're always, not always, but they're oftentimes laughing and playing together, and just they enjoy each other's company. They are each other's best friends. So if you ask them, they don't believe they're missing out on anything. So anyway, just to wrap this up, we're just thankful to be able to have the opportunity to share with you the reason why we do what we do. We hope that you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, then,
just click away.
Keep it to yourself. Some of you may have some questions that we haven't clarified, or maybe,
go ahead and ask in the comments below.
Keep it nice though.
Yes.
You know, not everybody's going to agree with the reasons why we do what we do and the way we do what we do. Okay, I get that. It's not for everyone. So we welcome your comments, we welcome your disagreements, but you know, keep it civil.
And this video was made because many of you asked questions, so if you want something else answered in a video or a blog post, let us know.
Yes, and we're going to keep on doing what we're doing. Right now we're in Phoenix, Arizona, enjoying the warmth, although it's actually been kind of chilly the last couple days.
Yeah, it's been so cold. It's been
like 60.
Yeah. If you watched our snow video from 2 weeks ago, then yeah.
We are very happy to be in the warmth of Phoenix right now.
If you want to learn more about our family, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you can be notified when a new video comes out, which is consistently on Thursdays at 7 and then also sporadically in between.
All right. Well, with that, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
In the next episode of The Travel Bags, we'll try and answer the question we often get. How does your big family handle being cooped up in that little tiny travel trailer?